the congestion of imported vehicles at the nation's seaports soon, following reports that the Nigeria Customs Service has raised duty on imported vehicles by 10%. Now, freight agents accused customs of effecting the increase, but failing to apply the 10% yearly depreciation value on imported used vehicles.
All right, joining us now in the studio for more on this is the Deputy Controller of Customs, Timi Bomodie. And in Lagos is Meche Nadiekwe, who is the President, Association of Motor Dealers of Nigeria. Thank you, both of you, gentlemen. Let's start with you. Thank you, first of all, for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, help us understand very clearly, because when this report broke, we heard, of course, that the Nigeria Customs has raised 10% duty on imported vehicles, only to hear again that there's no such thing. So clarify for us, has the Nigeria Customs raised duty on imported vehicles to the tune of 10%? Or what? What exactly is the situation?
No.
And why?
Actually, there has not been any increase in the duty payable on used vehicles. As a matter of fact, duties that are charged for any commodity are not arbitrarily issued. If fiscal policy supports an increment, and then there will be an increment. So Customs does not have the right to increase duties on anything arbitrarily. So the status quo still remains for the duty for used vehicles.
Let's hear Mr. Meche in Adiakwe, because they are the ones raising the dust.
Yeah.
Mr. Inadoke, thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight. Well, you just had the spokesperson for the customs. So what exactly is the issue here?
For having me. Honestly, there's an increase. There is an increase. It happens to be. So I don't know why my friend there comes out publicly to say there is nothing like that. When, if you go out to the public domain, the news, the whole thing is there. But rather, they come up again to say they have removed. It happens to me that is talking. Yes, the vehicles that are supposed to be cleared by 600,000 3 or 4 months ago was added up to 1.6. Now, by last 2 weeks, it was another 500,000. I paid. And when you are paying this thing, remember, you are selling this same car to Nigerians. So, and the one who clear this thing with that level of amount of money, it becomes a big problem for us that are selling, because we are no longer selling. The families of these dealers are having a very big problem now. And you remember, you are going to sell it to Nigeria. Where are they going to get this money to buy this car? Go to where they are selling cars now. You will see that everything is stagnant. The school has started, no sales for you to pay for your school fees. No, I think that the way we have organized, well, I want to correct one impression. I am the chairman, Lagos State, not the president, national president. Okay, President Ajibola is the president of Abdon, he's in Abuja. Okay, so I want to tell you that this thing has come to the level where if we want to actually understand ourselves, some of us who are the stakeholders in this business should be consulted to know how it's going to affect us and affect the people and the entire Nigerians. But when you wake up in the morning and you see that another increment has come, it doesn't go well with us. We're not happy about it. It makes us look as if we are nobody. When we are contributing immensely to the economy of this country, we are contributing massively. We are giving employment to so many people who could have been one armed robber there or there, one kidnapper. We are giving employment. We are helping. And instead of government to even raise hand up for us, they decided to punish us by increment without any consultation.
Mr.
Thank you.
Bomodie, you heard Mr. Nadekwe there, giving it that human touch, saying it is insensitive on the part of the Nigeria Customs to raise tariffs without consultation and all of that. But you have said no such thing happened. But they are the dealers, they are the ones who, bring in this imported used vehicles. And over time, they have continued to pay incrementally tariffs. So where are these, things coming from? What exactly is going on? And I'd like also for you to address the point that freight forwarders have made about, they're saying that they increased duty by 10%, but the customs refused to implement the 10% annual depreciation rate. Help us understand this.
Okay. First of all, I would like to remind my friend right there in Lagos that this issue of arbitrary fixing of values for vehicles, used vehicles, had already been tackled. We have an automated system, otherwise known as VIN valuation. VIN meaning the vehicle ID number valuation. And what it does, it takes the make and model of each vehicle and starts from the year of manufacture and begins to calculate the value based on a fixed rate of depreciation over time. And depending on the age of the vehicle, the appropriate value is attributed to that vehicle. And it is done in such a way that, at the time we launch this product, all stakeholders, both dealers, clearing agents, all stakeholders in that industry were brought together, and we all looked at these numbers together and agreed that the values that were being used to access duty for vehicles were values that were appropriate. They accepted them, they embraced them, because this actually was introduced because there was a time when agents themselves protested against the manual process. That is, people, our officers, our valuation officers, using the books and using the ex-factory price to manually calculate depreciation and arrive at the value for duty. So we have an automated process that is devoid of any kind of manual influence. And once you impute the VIN of a vehicle, automatically it will tell you what the value of that vehicle is. And then it will give you the appropriate duty that you're supposed to pay. Where I don't really know where the complaint is coming from, because as at last year, there was no complaint from any agent as to the values that the VIN protocol was producing. But one thing is also clear. We should realize that, we are talking about values, and values in the marketplace are not static. Values always change. And when they change, it comes to clearing and the payment of duty for those of these vehicles, we are supposed to reflect what the current realities are. So probably his grouse is with the fact that these are taken into consideration when assessments are made for vehicles as they currently are this period. But it is still an automated process, and it is devoid of manual intervention by our officers.
And the depreciation she mentioned?
Yes. Automatically calculated for all vehicles.
All right, so let me come back to you, Mr. Nadekwe, because there has been this issue of circumventing the age limit of cars that should be brought into Nigeria. A lot of importers are set to bring in cars of up-to-date under the guise of accidented cars. And Customs has said, with this being, the true cost of a car by the model and year will reflect. Is it possible that that's what has come into effect in the increase you're seeing? Because Customs is insisting they haven't increased any charges. So is it possible that this is the vein coming to light or coming to reality that you're witnessing?
My dear sister, I don't want to believe what he is saying, because this machine or whatever they are using is being controlled by them. Because a situation where you wake up, you want to give your clear agent money to clear your this, he comes back to you to tell you they have increased again by 570,000 and not at on plan. As of yesterday, you are aware that it is 1,600,000 and something thousand. And they say does this machine operate itself? Or did they overnight and try to tamper it? So they should honestly come up to tell us from so and so time to so who to stop bringing it. Instead of coming up with these ideas of today it is this price, next tomorrow is this price, it is not good for the business. It's not healthy at all. Honestly, I want to be straight.
Mr. Bomodie, I'd like you respond to that. In how many years before 2022, the Nigeria Customs made about 13 trillion naira revenue? Is this a revenue drive? Though automated, not necessarily, manual, as you have stated, but it looks like within the system itself, you have programmed it in such a way that every year or every, given period, these figures will continue to increase.
Okay, there are lots of factors that we can attribute to an increase in revenue, and one of the major factors is, as you begin to improve on your processes, as they become more efficient, then your capacity to earn more revenue also is likely going to go up. It's a no-brainer. Also, as you continue to block leakages in the system, your capacity to earn revenue also will go up. But more importantly, we find that the whole process of facilitating trade, which automation encourages, will actually lead to an increment in revenue. As the system gets more efficient, you're able to process more vehicles in real time than you would in an inefficient system. And the more we keep doing this, the more we keep improving on our processes, the likelihood of increments in revenue is also there. So these are factors. We have more efficient systems than we had a year or 2 years prior to this time. You said 13 trillion. Actually, yeah. What we have, the target for this year, or for the last year, was 3.01 trillion. And we were able to make about 2.63 trillion. The anticipated...
I'm tempted to ask how much of this really goes into government coffers.
Absolutely, every single penny.
Okay, very quickly, Mr. Bomodie, as we wrap up, because the complaint is on ground. They are paying more. They don't understand how this is working because it comes as you wake up almost. Explain to them, the way forward. And also, there's a complaint about the year limits for imported cars. They are saying your financial cycle for the year began in January which should have began April. March, April. They don't understand why that has come into effect in January. They also say, from 2013 went to 2014, from 2015, the year keeps changing. What exactly is going on? What is the year? Why does it keep changing so quickly? And why is your financial cycle beginning in January?
I don't understand what they mean by the financial cycle. We do know that at the end of work in 2022, we can have a summation of all that we've done for the year 2022. But work doesn't necessarily stop. There's a carryover. There are things that are declared in 2022 that are eventually paid for in 2023 and released in 2023. So there's really no time where you say this is where this starts and this is where this stops, because it is a continuous process. As I said in the beginning, Customs does not operate arbitrarily. We operate by laws, we obey the fiscal policy of government, and as it currently stands, the fiscal policy on the importation of used cars has not led to any kind of increment in the duty payable on used vehicles.
Right. Will there be some kind of meeting point very quickly between the Nigeria Customs and the freight forwarders, the car dealers, the importers, and other stakeholders to clarify this issue so that you're on the same page?
Of course, that's why we have regular meetings with our stakeholders. So we have the associations there at the ports. And these associations, mind you, were called every time we want to introduce anything new. We don't just sit in our offices and decide, oh, well, this is what the direction we feel we should go, and then we begin to implement. No, we always call them to tell them what the plans of government are and how we intend to go about implementing those plans. As it concerns my friend over there in Lagos, I would want to think that there's a bit of misinformation between himself and his agent. He is an importer, and most of the information he gets from his clearing agent. I think he should look a little bit more closely at the kind of information that he gets, and also to tell him that the protocol that has been introduced, the automated system, allows importers to make declarations directly without recourse to clearing agents. So if they are in doubt as to what the system is churning out in terms of the valuation for the vehicles they have direct access to our offices, and they will always give them reasons why the values are presented the way they are. And lastly, I'd like to state, a lot of the time people want to get away from, doing the correct thing. So we have incidents where people would ordinarily bring in a vehicle that has a standard VIN and then declare them as vehicles with non-standard VIN. And the protocol for non-standard VIN is different. And once you begin to do that, we know that the intention is to evade the payment of appropriate duty. And of course, the full weight of the law is brought to bear on individuals like that.
So you kind of change the country. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Timi Bomodie, who is the Deputy Controller of Customs. Thank you so much. And of course, in Lagos, we're joined by Meche Nadekwe, who is the Chairman. He says, Chairman, Association of Motor Dealers of Nigeria in Lagos. Thank you both, and we do hope that there's
resolved eventually.
Resolution to this. Thank you, sir.